of Netflix, where your fearless co-hosts Isaac and Larry force each other to watch the worst pieces of shit on Netflix. We will go over every bad edit, all the broken dialogue, all the wooden acting, and laugh along the way, because this is the Bowels of Netflix! Alright, welcome to the Bowels of Netflix. My name is Isaac, and with me as always is my fearless co-host Larry. How are you doing this week, Larry?
I am feeling all abuzz.
All abuzz?
All abuzz.
Why would you be feeling that way, Larry?
Well, I might be feeling that way because of one of my favorite bee properties. And by bee properties, I mean properties that start with B, like the Berenstein Bears. That has two B's. I had the best idea ever. You make an adult version of the Berenstein Bears. Because you know how like all the titles of those books are like Berenstein Bears and The Trouble with Lying and Berenstein Bears and like moving to a new house. Get like the Berenstein Bears and Brothers Heroin Addiction. The Berenstein Bears and Too Much Pregnant. The Berenstein Bears and Papa's Vietnam Flashbacks. Oh, also, bears love honey. And honey's produced by, I don't know, some animal that starts with a B.
Yeah, Honey Corp, I think.
I think it's Hunex, which is a division of Honey Corp or some shit.
Yeah, there's a few companies mentioned. Hunron. Get Enron, Hunron. Fuck this fucking movie. I hate you. So,
it's gonna be fun.
We are the Bowels of Netflix. We hate each other.
Oh, yeah.
So deeply
fucking
and profoundly.
Pop star,
it's disgusting.
You fucking twat.
I hope
recovered.
I hope the songs from Popstar just echo endlessly in your grave.
I was singing Julio's song in the fucking car on the way home.
Oh shit!
My canine cortisone.
God damn. So yeah, we are the Bowels of Netflix. Every week, one of us forces the other one to watch the worst movie we could possibly find on our Netflix queue. And we discuss it in horrifying detail and suffer through it, and that's where your mirth and delight comes in, audience. So we're glad you're listening. We do exist on the internet, so you could poke, twiddle, twat us, whatever you need to do. Facebook and Twitter, those are both Bowels of Netflix. At Bowels of Netflix. I don't know how the internet works. You probably do. You're millennials. Whatever. I'm old. We have an email address. That's bowelsofnetflix@gmail.com. We'd love for you to send an email. Just any thoughts you have about any of the movies we've reviewed, or if you have any suggestions for movies we could touch on in the future, or you just want to complain about how awful we are and how we've deeply affronted you. All of that would be good. But this week, we're talking about a movie made by a man I'm very fond of. He has probably... He's been at the helm of probably the best sitcom ever made.
I would say so. I would say unquestionably.
Yeah. That man is Jerry Seinfeld. And the movie we're discussing today is The Bee Movie, which he made in 2007, roughly a decade after Seinfeld ended. And he's more or less been out of the cultural sphere. Like, he did a stand-up special, I think, before B-Movie. And over the last few years, he's been doing Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, which is actually a pretty cool YouTube series. So I'll give him credit for that.
I think it might be on Netflix as well now.
Oh, right. It is Netflix.
And there is... he did a comedy special that's like 6.5 out of 10 on Netflix, I believe, last year.
Okay, I didn't see that one. But yeah, generally, like... In most celebrities' career trajectory, he's laid pretty low since Seinfeld ended. Mm-hmm. In the last 20 years, he has not done a whole lot.
No, not at all.
Normally, like Adam Sandler transitioned to doing Netflix movies for 12-year-olds, and is just fucking everywhere on Netflix, mm-hmm. and as busy as a bee. God damn it. I hate myself. I hate myself so much.
I think
but Seinfeld has more or less laid low, except really for the Bee Movie.
It's like the weird. It's imagine in the back of your house or your apartment or the shack you live in or the bridge that you live in, you live under, there's just a whack-a-mole machine that's been unplugged, and then all of a sudden, after having not done anything for like 8 years, a fucking mole just pops up out of it. Just out of nowhere.
And that mole is Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
What's the deal with airplane peanuts?
Now, I don't know about you, Isaac, but for me, I gotta say, like, Jerry Seinfeld, well, the show Seinfeld really inspired a lot of my early humor.
Yeah, I would say so myself, too.
I had a very tumultuous family relationship growing up, but one of the few things that everyone in the family loved, and I'm not counting my sister because she was pretty young, like before my parents got divorced, so she in and out. She's awesome, but as far as this story goes, but my mother, my father, and I all loved Seinfeld, which there was nothing all three of us loved. So that was like the big family thing to gather around the dinner trays. And my sister would too, although she was kind of too young to appreciate it, I think. But
yeah, you need to be at least 9, I think, before you get Seinfeld.
And Seinfeld is like one of those things. So everybody enjoyed it. So like we all would talk about it, and it would be one of those things where we could all kind of get. And I've met very few people who didn't used to watch it, who don't either love it or like it. I don't think I've ever met anyone who hates it, because it's just so.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
a good point.
Perfect. There's like not really any bad episodes of it. For those of you who may not have heard of it or seen it, it is basically the precursor, not in story, but in tone, to Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes.
It's like because it's the 90s and there was still a lot of TV laws, and it was, it was a different time.
That's one of the really interesting things about the show, is how they carve out that space where they can talk about masturbation or cunnilingus or virginity or certain things like that on network TV, and they had to find the right words, the right tone to be able to use that with the FCC 20-something years ago. Whereas today, we don't really have to worry about that.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, you can tell Frank Reynolds in Always Sunny, it constantly talks about banging whores.
Right.
Banging whores, as he says. and Seinfeld, like, the tone, because I'm gonna keep referring to that because it's very popular in the zeitgeist right now. And it's also an amazing show, Always Sunny. Always Sunny is about 5 narcissists who own a bar. Seinfeld is about 4 narcissists who live in New York. It's like really, once you start comparing the two, the parallels are uncanny, and the way the storylines interact and the way they act, and it's just, Always Sunny is just Seinfeld 20 years later with the knob turned to 11. Be able to do anything.
On meth.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Sometimes actually on meth. Do you have a favorite episode of Seinfeld that you would recommend people who've never seen it watch?
Seinfeld? There's a lot. The Briss is a very good one.
Yes.
But especially if you really want to get a taste of dancing around, like, what you could and couldn't say on television. And also one of the most famous episodes of it in general, The Contest.
The Contest. Yep.
Yeah.
That is so good.
Yeah. They have a contest to see who can go the longest without masturbating. And they cannot say the word masturbate. Yeah, so it's this eloquent dance
they can't
around
the
word.
They can, like, just barely imply it, and it is, like, comedic genius. Like, everything about that episode is absolute gold.
Good example of how, if you are restrained, and it's a good example for writing, or if you're making like an RPG character. And actually, I just played a round of D&D with some of my friends, and I was telling about your old character that was afraid of water. And I was like, as soon as you confined your character to that, gold came out of it. You just have this one thing, you narrow it in, and and they ran with it. One person had a foot fetish, and it became the best thing in the world.
Aww.
But like as soon as you confine yourself to a certain space, then you allow yourself to thrive within that space instead of the whole universe.
Yes.
That makes writing so much easier.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you're writing short form.
Yeah, like a sitcom, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Because you can have the basis of Seinfeld is that it's 4 narcissists in different walks of life, more or less. And then all you need to know is that they're funny assholes, and that whatever zany adventure they're going to have usually gets resolved at the end of the episode, for usually poorly for them, because that's where the comedy is.
Right, yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
phenomenal writing. And that's what I want to stress. The show Seinfeld, some of the best writing I've ever seen in my life. Just the tightest stories. Everything packs in together perfectly at the end. All the ends tie together. It's the best.
Yeah, the best, Jerry. The best.
The best.
Another episode, since we're talking about Seinfeld, the Soup Nazi, since I just used a reference from it that I use in my regular life all the time.
Also a great episode.
We're sucking Jerry Seinfeld's dick in this portion for a reason. Like, this is...
Oh, yeah. Jerry Seinfeld, and apparently a portion of the Seinfeld writers team, which I wasn't aware of until just recently when I was looking it up, were the writers for the B-movie. So it's not just Jerry and like a bunch of DreamWorks guys, because it's an animated, computer-generated picture. It's not Pixar, it's DreamWorks. So it's the shitty version of Pixar.
Yeah.
It's
usually not a good sign.
The Shrek studio. Shrek 1 was fine. Nothing else DreamWorks has done has been okay. Ants. I'll talk about Ants later.
Oh,
I like Ants.
I hate Ants, so...
I haven't seen it in a really long time. I should see it again.
I'll probably hate it. I don't like Woody Allen to start, so that's a bad sign.
I got a theory about Woody Allen and Jerry Seinfeld, but we'll get there. God damn it.
Oh no, that cannot be good for Jerry's legacy.
But, so, the writing and the jokes, and again, just everything about Seinfeld the sitcom is written so well.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and even when the episodes that aren't great have so much good stuff in them that it picks them up, there's not a bad episode. There's just middling episodes.
Yes, there really isn't any bad episodes of Seinfeld. I've never seen one. There's some that might not be as funny, and there's some that are they're eh. That's the worst a Seinfeld episode gets is eh. Same thing with Always Sunny. It's that same level of beautiful, perfectly written television.
Right, yeah. You'll have a couple minutes that are boring, and then, holy shit, that's the funniest bit I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
So, Seinfeld writers, very talented. Jerry at the helm did really well. I don't know what happened in the 10 years after Seinfeld. But whoever the writers he brought over, and whatever happened in his internal headspace, things went very south very quickly.
And he disappeared. For those of you who don't know...
Oh, yeah.
He vanished. I'm assuming he still did stand-up at that point? I don't know.
Not much. He had a special, I think, in the early 2000s. But he kind of enjoyed his money. He had a big car collection. He's famous for that. And he got married, I think, in 2000 and started having kids. When B-Movie came out, he already had 3 children.
Oh, wow, so I didn't know that.
He started having kids in 2099, something like that. And I read an interview. There was a cute story about him working on B-Movie on his laptop when his kids and their friends were around. And they would be 4, 5, 6 years old, so they would just love it. And they would just come and watch little clips of it while he was editing or checking things. He was really deeply involved in the process.
Yeah, this was a passion project of his, which also makes it kind of weird as we go along in the present and future of B-Movie. This is why, to me, this is why my memory of Seinfeld is so warped, and it just gets more and more warped. Because, the only thing I'd seen Seinfeld from is my father had saw... Because Jerry Seinfeld was also a huge baseball fan. He had seen... And my father is the strangest human being on the planet. I could write several books about him, but that's neither here nor there for right now. But he loved Seinfeld. That's one of the only things we fucking shared. And he had seen Seinfeld on ESPN talking about baseball. And, he was super into talking about baseball. He's just like one of the announcers. And one of them asked him... hey, Jerry, have you ever thought about coming back and doing TV? To which his response was, I've made the greatest sitcom of all time. Anything I do to come back will be to tarnish my legacy. Now,
well spoken.
I heard that in 2004, probably. So, picture my surprise.
Larry, B-Movie was announced in 2003. It was a long work in progress. I think Jerry, at that point, already knew he was tarnishing his legacy.
I don't think he did. I think he thinks B-Movie might be his greatest creation, and that makes me really sad.
Yeah, he does stand behind it. I was reading some interviews. And there's so much to get into. So, B-Movie came out in 2007. Everyone was like, okay... Pixar animated Jerry Seinfeld, it's fine, whatever. Okay, move on. Next movie. no one really gave that much of a shit about it. 2007, the year I graduated from high school. I remember B-movie being a thing. I didn't see it. I don't know anyone who saw it.
Yes.
It just existed. Fucking whatever. It's for kids. I don't give a shit. In the last few years, apparently, B-movie has seen a resurgence on the internet, via Tumblr and YouTube and all sorts of things. The entire script was released and shared like crazy on Facebook. And I think the most popular video, which started sort of a trend, was the B-movie, but every time they say the word B, it gets sped up. So by the time you get a little bit into the movie, it's just going like 40 times faster than it's supposed to, and it's chaos.
Yeah, those videos are usually like 6 minutes long.
Right, yeah. It's 90-minute movie condensed into 6 minutes, because, yeah, obviously they're going to say B a whole bunch.
Having watched that video very recently, the most famous of those, I'm shocked how few times they say B in the opening.
Right, yeah. Like, it plays like the normal movie.
Yeah.
Like, there's almost no difference for about 3 minutes, and then you can kind of, the pitch shifted up a little bit, like it's a little quicker, and then
it goes
for
off
another
the fucking
minute,
rails.
Right, exactly. Then you're like, oh, this is definitely faster, and then, oh, holy shit. I can't understand a word they're saying.
Oh, man.
But yeah, B-movie has seen a weird internet, meme-y, Tumblr, YouTube-y resurgence. And Mr. Seinfeld, God bless his heart, was asked somewhat recently if he'd ever consider doing a B-movie sequel. To which he replied, I thought about it for about 6 hours, and I decided making a sequel would take away from the iconic status and the originality of the first movie. So I couldn't go there. Which, Larry, you should be more grateful and more obligated to suck Jerry Seinfeld's dick than any person on this planet. Because otherwise, you'd be reviewing B-Movie 2 Electric Boogaloo.
If I knew that was out and I knew it was coming on Netflix, I would take a week's vacation to make sure I caught it before you could.
So hopefully we don't get a B-Movie 2. But, oh fuck, we're 20 minutes in. Let's start.
Yeah, it's also a little bit different than our normal format because I know it's super popular for memes, right? Which is the reason I thought, like, I'm going to check this out to see if I could give it to Isaac for bells. Because I thought to myself, I bet a lot of people haven't seen it, but people have just seen the memes and made the assumptions, like, let me take a look and see if it's really terrible off the bat. And I could not stop. So, very recently, not as recently as Isaac, I have watched this movie. Usually we come into it more or less blind, get a couple minutes in, but I could not, there was so much at play, there were so many chips in the pile, I had to see where this was going to go. So that's going to be a little different than our normal format, and that I am a little more aware of what's happening in the plot than normal.
Yes. And please feel free, if I miss anything that stood out to you as an affront to humanity, please feel free to interject, because
I would be
there's
astonished
only
if you
so
did.
much I could put on paper without opening a vein in a hot bathtub.
That's how I felt about Pupstar. I just, like, I don't know if you remember the story from 2 episodes ago where I called his wife because I had to know at the time if Isaac had seen it or not, because I needed you to watch this. So that's all I wanted.
That's happened. It's happened. So now I don't know how much research you've done. I want you to guess the budget of this movie.
I did not do any research because I tried to keep myself as much in the dark as I could with having still seen it. But I am going to say... Now, see, here's the problem, too. I don't know jack shit about production, as we evidenced by my Lord of the Rings example a couple episodes ago. Oh,
yeah, good point.
But I'm going to... I am going to say this movie cost... It was all animated. I don't know if that's more or less expensive. And Jerry Seinfeld probably took a pay cut. I'm going to say this cost $18 million.
Strap in, Larry.
I don't know if that's a lot or a little, but...
This movie cost $150 million.
No, it fucking didn't.
To make.
No, it did not.
Oh,
it
yes,
did not.
Did.
You're a fucking liar.
$50 million.
Are you sure that that's not the number of bees that were on set? Because that's a more reasonable number to me. What did they spend it on?
I don't know.
Not the writing staff, clearly.
Yeah, no. There are a lot of celebrity cameos, which we'll get into. So I guess they commanded a salary. And one of his...
Do those people technically count as celebrities?
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Maybe I missed some.
Oh, you did. There's a lot of celebrities.
I remember a couple, but I may have missed some.
And this baffles me. It made decent money. So 287 gross worldwide. So it recouped it. Yeah, but because also production budget doesn't go into advertising. Mm-hmm. So especially a big movie like this, which there's a whole story about advertising where Jerry live action dressed up in a bee costume.
I was going to ask about that because you mentioned in between episodes, and I looked it up and I was like taken back in time, and I remember seeing that fucking commercial after we got off the phone, and it's just, what the fuck? Actually,
I don't know. That was Jerry's idea. Fuck. Mm-hmm. So, oh my God. This movie did not make a whole bunch of money.
No.
That's why there's not a B movie 2. It's not because Jerry's just waiting for Tumblr to react. No, it's because it was a fucking money pit, and they didn't make a profit. But, strangely, it's fairly well received. Surprisingly, Rotten Tomatoes, the critic aggregated score, which is the percentage of critics who gave a positive review to this movie, is 51%. Slightly more than half the critics gave a positive review to this movie.
And because see, now that gives me pause, because I was going to immediately say, well, any review that's well reviewed is going to be people who love the memes. But if it's critically reviewed, that gives me a little more pause. Huh.
Right, so
what's some of the
I'm
good
assuming
things
they were paid off?
What are some of the good things people had to say about this?
Maybe Jerry had mob connections. Because his time in New York. It's like, yeah, I watched B-movie and afraid of my ankles being broken, I give it 3 out of 4 stars. I don't know what else.
Wow.
And audience aggregated score is 53%. So, again, just right in the middle. A lot of people liked it. IMDb, which is a pile of horseshit we should probably stop talking about. 6.1 out of 10. So,
yeah, we can't.
A lot of people like it.
Yeah, well, all right. IMDb cannot be trusted any longer.
Now, Larry, I have a little game for you. Not a big game, just a little one. I don't know if you can tell from what we've been talking about the movie, but there's a lot of puns about bees.
Did you fucking count bee puns?
I didn't count bee puns.
Okay.
I couldn't go that far. There is a rabbit hole I could not go down without you guiding me through it with your eloquent words.
Oh, thank you.
But I want you, and you're going to get 3 guesses.
Okay.
I want you to guess the cameo who stars as himself, based on a bee pun. If in 3 guesses you get it right, you will get to choose one of 2 movies for your next review.
So based on his name, so it's not going to be like B. Larry King, because it's not a name.
Based on the person's actual name, yes.
Okay. Now, as we just said, I don't know that I got a lot of the cameos, because what I'm thinking of here, Chris Rock, that's not B pun, that's not B related. And cameo, specifically cameo.
Yes, they're only in the movie for a hot moment.
Shit, I'm not going to get this. Fuck, I'm not going to get it. Alright, now I got to think of celebrities with B name puns. Or Wasp, Hornet? Did somebody play the Hornet? Who was the Hornet in the Marvel universe? What did this person? Were they as a human or a bee?
They appeared as a human in the movie.
Ah, crap!
Well, you did see the movie. I forget you've seen the movie. This kind of ruins it.
No, I don't. I'm not playing fun. I don't remember.
It was very quick.
I don't remember any of the. My brain's just saying Stan Lee. That's because I've just been watching Marvel movies. All right. There's a human. Patrick Warburton was the boyfriend. John Goodman was the lawyer.
It's not.
Oprah was the fucking judge, but Oprah, when is her middle name B?
Oprah B. Winfrey.
Shit. Fuck. Can I have one hint? You already gave me a hint. Oh no, I don't know. I can't even think of one. I can't think of one human who was in this movie besides Renee Zellweger and the other two I already mentioned.
They're not part of the cast.
I know, that's the
they're not
problem.
listed.
I may have been taking an acid tab when this person was on screen to keep the high going.
Well, I'll give you a 50-50 option. Because there's one person who was in the movie, and probably when you hear it, you'll know who it was.
Okay.
But even so, you're not going to like the two movies you have to choose from, so I'm not really worried about that.
Okay.
And there's another person they could have chosen, which would have been an equally amazing pun.
Huh?
So your two choices are B.B. King and Sting.
Oh, fuck. Oh, my God. I forgot about that. Oh. No, and I should have remembered too. No, I don't get to choose. You pick for me. It's fucking Sting.
No, I want you to choose, because I want you to suffer. I want you to feel despair as you're reviewing your movie, because you could have picked another one.
I forgot about Sting.
Sting guest stars as himself. Oh, holy shit. We're 30 minutes into this, and I haven't... Okay, let's plow through.
Wait,
Netflix.
Hang on 1 second. Let me shut my door. I forgot I left it open.
When Larry said shut his door, he actually meant zip up his fly, because his wiener's been hanging out the entire time.
Cannot fucking believe I forgot about that. I mean, I can believe it.
Okay.
Alright,
so,
fire and ready.
Netflix suggests that this movie is for ages 5 to 7.
That is a lie.
No. Think about it. Legos advertise as, like, ages 7 to 99.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, if you're an adult, yeah, sure, I mean, it's mostly for kids, but if you're an adult, you can still play and have fun. No. Netflix acknowledges, once you're 8, this movie's beyond you. You've learned multiplication. You need to not watch this movie. It will betray your education, Mr. Times Table Man.
It's a step backwards in education.
So, 5 to 7. That's the age range we're talking about. So the movie opens.
There is not enough fucking whimsy in this movie for a 5 to 7-year-old. This movie is lacking whimsy.
Yeah, and it is lacking nods to adults, too. There's not enough good adult jokes. It just doesn't hit anywhere right.
But it is adult jokes, but they're not funny.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. I did not laugh once.
No, neither did I.
The entire movie. I didn't... Like, almost... I think every other movie, I've laughed once.
I smiled at the B. Larry King joke. Because that was like Seinfeld. That was the only thing that was Seinfeld.
Nope, didn't do it for me. Every other movie, I laughed. I forget what it was. I laughed at something in Perfect Sisters. I did not laugh at this movie.
There was terrifying.
Nothing.
Terrifying. Think of the movies he's watched.
The movie opens with the title screen.
It's just not real.
According to all known laws of aviation, there is no way that a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small to get its fat little body off the ground. The bee, of course, flies anyway, because bees don't care what humans think is impossible.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's... Alright.
So,
we're
going to get our first of many, unique to this episode, first time ever, science alerts.
Oh my god.
Science alert,
is that
the first. The assertion that bees defy the laws of aviation dates back to a drunken entomologist and engineer at a party in the 1930s having a conversation where they concluded, bees What? Their wings are too small. They can't fly. They're not like planes. They can't fly. What? What?
How did you get that recording?
Fucking surprise. This is the 1930s when the top tier of modern aviation was the biplane. Yeah. Aviation had just been invented. The Wright brothers were still alive.
Oh my god.
So,
Jesus Christ.
Guess what? It's not true. Science completely understands how bees are able to fly. It turns out, instead of planes, they can flap their wings. Okay, I hate everything.
See, I didn't know if that was true or not, because, like, it didn't sound correct, but you know how, like, flies lift off backwards, which is kind of cool? Like, you ever see a fly, like, a close-up in slow motion?
No, I haven't seen that, but...
they, like, lift off backwards, so I thought, okay, well, maybe bees, like, weirdly manipulate the laws, and Jerry's just being fast and loose. But no, he's just fucking wrong?
Nope, just quoting some bullshit anecdotal science from 80 years ago. Okay, so now we're in the movie.
I've never been so happy.
Young adult Jerry Seinfeld is getting dressed. We get some jokes about his deodorant and his mouthwash and his hair gel all being honey. Fucking bee
What's his
jokes.
name?
Barry B. Benson.
Barry B. Benson.
He will be referred to as Jerry.
The B stands for B.
He will be referred to as Jerry.
Oh, I'm so hard.
I hate you. I hate you, Larry.
Oh my god.
Also, apparently, his antenna is a cell phone. Fucking whatever. Okay.
Is that how bees communicate, science bitch?
Yep. With their antenna. Cell phone. Unlimited texts. So, not a bad deal. Jerry picks up his straight-laced friend, voiced by Mr. Matthew Broderick. So, here we get another celebrity of decent renown. And so they drive to their graduation. They
drive in a car.
Yeah.
They drive in a car because bees can't fly, right?
Nope. Can't fly. Too fat for the fat little wings. And
this is the only scene with cars.
It's
the dumbest
I never thought about it. I never thought about that. Why are they in cars?
We never see his car again.
It didn't compute. Okay.
I don't want to step on your toes. I'm sorry, but I just...
No.
Oh my God.
Step on my balls, because I've laid them out for you. I'm sorry, you've laid them out for yourself by giving me B-movie.
Oh my God.
My balls are free to be stepped on.
Why did I watch
but
this?
Here we get the worst joke of the movie, which is the perfect example of every joke in the movie, because I will not go into all of them because I can't, or I would open my veins in a bathtub with hot water. But, so, they're at the graduation ceremony, and Jerry leans over to his straight-laced friend, voiced by Matthew Broderick, and says, while the graduation music is playing, "Huh, that's a lot of pomp, under the circumstances." And maybe some of our younger listeners aren't aware, the traditional graduation processional music, which I'm sure you've heard, is titled Pomp and Circumstances. Or Pomp and Circumstance. I forget if it's plural or not. But that's the name of the song. You all know it. Every graduation ceremony. But it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's not a joke that should be delivered in a movie that has dozens of writers and a $150 million budget. This is a joke. I lean over and say to my wife at our child's high school graduation, and then she starts divorce proceedings against me.
I am going to be using that joke for the remainder of the time we do this show.
I hate that joke so much.
It is the worst.
It's a lot of pomp under the circumstances. It's not funny. It's not a joke.
Oh, it just gets worse.
Okay, so the gag is that graduations happen every 15 minutes. because there's always a new supply of worker bees to fill the endless amount of jobs for the beehive. Jerry and his friend are overwhelmed and intimidated because they have to choose a specific job for the rest of their life. Jerry is conflicted about choosing this type of job and being stuck in a rut forever. Meanwhile, the rest of the bees don't really seem to mind, and that's like your sort of first dramatic crutch of the movie. Jerry and his straight-laced friend sneak off to the beehive airport, where the pollen jocks, who are buff bees in cool jackets.
Oh, you're calling those cool jackets. All right. It says a lot about your fashion sense.
For bees, they're cool jackets, but okay.
What do you know about bee fashion? He wears a shirt. Barry B. Benson wears a shirt.
Yeah, he like puts on a shirt and he's like, oh yeah, I guess I'll go with stripes today. Oh, fucking bee joke.
Why do they wear clothes? I just watched a movie where dogs wear clothes and it was adorable. In this movie, bees wear clothes and it's the worst.
Jerry and his friend try to pick up on chicks at the pollen jock airport, and the pollen jocks subvert their attempt and trick Jerry into flying out of the hive tomorrow with them at 0900 hours. Jerry goes home. His father's disappointed he's not going to be a stirrer and follow in his footsteps. His mother is oblivious and has her hairdo. Guess what her hairdo is, Larry?
I don't know, Isaac. What's her hairdo?
A beehive. Beehive hairdo? Yeah.
What's Jerry's haircut?
A buzz cut. A buzz cut.
Comedy gold! Oh,
nothing is funny in this movie.
His parents are so Jewish. They're so Jewish.
They are very Jewish. Yeah. Why can't you be a stirrer like your father? Oh, you're so... just holding the stick, you'd be so good at it. You'd just go in circles every day. You'd come home. You'd make your mother happy. Okay, god damn it.
We're like 5 minutes in.
Jerry and his straight-laced friend go to the job board, where they're going to pick their jobs for the rest of their life. Jerry's like, fuck this. No. So he sneaks away, goes to the pollen jocks, and basically goes on Rumspringa. Like, he's gonna fly out with them and experience, like, everything about the world he wants to before he picks a job and settles into his life. So he flies around the pollen jocks and experiences Central Park of Manhattan, where now we know this movie's set, at large. And now, I understand why Jerry Seinfeld made B-Movie. Because Woody Allen, the other famous New York Jewish comedian, one generation behind Jerry, made the movie Ants for DreamWorks. So the evolution of the New York Jewish comedian is to now make the B-Movie.
Who's gonna be...
I don't know who's coming up next. I don't know what Jew in New York is thinking about praying mantids. But it's coming.
Show.
It's coming, Larry.
DreamWorks' next top Jew. He gets a movie deal to write a movie about butterflies.
Oh, God, we gotta come fast in this, man. I gotta nut and be over. We're 40 minutes in. I'm 1 page out of 5. Okay. Jerry, flying around in Central Park, gets stuck to a tennis ball. Because he's a bee, tennis balls are sticky, whatever. Patrick Warburton, who plays Putty in Seinfeld, and was fucking Kronk in Kronk's New Groove, fucking deep-voiced motherfucker. Anyway, he's playing tennis. He smacks the ball. Jerry's stuck to the ball. Smacks it right into the middle of 5th Avenue. Jerry gets sucked into a car engine. He bam, zip, zap, boop, da bop, bees around in the car engine. All the cylinders. I don't know how cars work. Anyway, he fights his way through the air conditioning vent into the car, where a family panics and shoos him out of the car. So, again, he's in the middle of Central Park, lost from the rest of the pollen jocks. It starts to rain.
Did it sound like he went through that in fast motion? Because that's about how fast it is. It's just like a minute and a half of just pure chaos and just Jerry Seinfeld screaming.
To be fair, I'm not sure if I watched the movie on Netflix or the YouTube version where it speeds up every time they say the word bee.
It's just like what the fuck? Every couple of seconds, bam, he's somewhere else. Bam, he's on this thing. Holy crap, he's on
Suddenly
that.
chaos.
Yeah.
So it starts to rain. He's flying around in the streets. Bees can't fly when it rains. Raindrops are heavy. I don't know, whatever. Fuck. So Jerry panics, flies through an open window, lands on a snow globe of Mount Rushmore. Fuck. It happens to be the apartment of the people he was just on the tennis court with. Fucking coincidence much.
In New York.
Yeah, seriously. 2 million people live on the island of Manhattan. Just happens to be the same people who are also, like, 80 seconds later, back in their apartment from the tennis court. Mm-hmm. Okay. Jerry is perplexed by the closed window, because he's inside now. So he keeps flying into the glass and doesn't understand the invisible force field. And he's like, maybe this time I'll get through. Maybe this time. Maybe this time. Maybe this time. Maybe this. Oh, fuck! Ugh, I hate everything. I hate everything. Jerry sees a light bulb and is like, oh, look, the sun. I don't remember that having a 75-watt logo on it before, and starts flying toward it. And he, I don't know, bangs his head in it. He lands in the guacamole. Patrick Warburton is allergic to bees and terrified and panics because Jerry's in the guacamole on a chip. So he tries to kill Jerry. And Renee Zellweger fucking comes to the rescue because she's fucking Patrick Warburton. They're fucking fuck buddies. She scoops Jerry up into a glass and lets him out the window. And says, like, oh, why does your life matter more than his? And
wait, I'm sorry, let me correct you. Why does his life matter more than your life? Why you be like that, Pastor?
Her voice acting's not that bad.
I swear to God, she filmed this movie on a cassette tape in her bathtub, high on Quaaludes, and sent it in like that.
To be fair, I'm not convinced she doesn't have a drug problem, but
it's so, her voice acting is so terrible.
Yeah, she sounds sleepy.
It really, like, it's all I could focus on after the initial shock of, oh my God, I'm watching B movie wore off, is just how, like, I could not get a read on her voice.
I didn't get as hung up on that, but
there was a lot going on, in fairness.
Yeah. And I'm not a Renee Zellweger fan, to be fair.
No, not me either.
But as she's, like, shooing him out the window to freedom, hey, live, go be free, they share a moment. They catch each other's eye. Cue romantic music. And Jerry getting the urge to fuck this human woman who is only about 100,000 times his size. We'll cut back to that later. So, Jerry...
It's real.
Goes out of his way to go back to Renee Zellweger and thank her for not killing him. He's just in the apartment, and we get fucking gags of him, like, posed up against the Bumblebee tuna can. Just stupid, just jokes that aren't funny. Like, yeah, Bumblebee tuna, it's a B movie. Fucking great, whatever. Ugh.
You're getting really mad.
I know.
It's really funny.
There's so much movie. I really thought this wouldn't be as bad as it was.
I'm so glad I don't have to review this. I just get to laugh at you.
Renee is incredulous. Okay, so bees can talk. Bees can talk. Like normal.
They speak English.
They speak English, yes. But it's bee law that you're not supposed to talk to humans. So Jerry has a conflict of interest because he wants to thank Renee for not killing him, saving his life, but he's not supposed to talk to her, so he sneaks into the apartment and then just starts talking to her. Gives in. He's like, hey, thanks for not killing me. Renee Zellweger is incredulous and stabs her hand with a fork to see if she's dreaming. Okay. Then she makes him a cup of coffee, and they're friends. Yeah.
Just like that.
Yep.
Just like that.
Yep, pretty quickly, it's like, oh, I'm talking to a bee. I guess I'm not dreaming. Okay, let's be friends. So we find out Jerry is trying to lose a couple of micrograms instead of pounds because he's a bee and he's very small. So micrograms instead of pounds. Ha ha ha. Another joke that's not a joke. Renee is a florist. How fucking convenient in the bee movie. They sit on her loft and drink coffee. The maintenance man comes by and wonders why a grown woman is having 2 cups of coffee alone because he can't see the bee because he's too fucking small. The bee and the human woman share a moment, and we get romantic music swelling. I'm about to fuck you music swelling. Which in any other movie would result in fucking, like, curtains fluttering in an open window as we pan away from them getting into bed together. Mm-hmm. But he's a bee. She's a woman, so they don't fuck. But Jerry reaches out with his tiny little bee paw and shakes Renee Zellweger's gargantuan ladyfinger. And we get another musical swell of sexual charge.
Gargantuan ladyfinger. It's the name of my next band.
Jerry goes home, back to the hive.
Let me ask you a question here. When they part ways on that rooftop, did you think to yourself, are they going to fuck? Did you have to ask yourself
until the end of the movie? No, I waited until the end of the credits to wait for a fucking scene. I was like, they're going to pull a Marvel and just have Jerry railing her from behind at the end of the movie.
How?
I don't know. But I had to make sure they didn't do that. I needed to know because I was afraid.
Dude, the Rule 34 for B-movie has got to be insane.
Oh, God, no. Ooh, gross. No, we're not. Do not look that up. You're typing. Stop typing. Stop. Stop.
I'm not
Larry,
typing.
No.
I'm petting the dog.
You stop.
Oh, my God. So, okay. I forgot her last name is Bloom.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's horrible.
So, Larry, Jerry, whatever. I can't. I'm confusing you with the bee because I hate everyone and you and the movie. Jerry goes home to the hive. His parents yell at him to get a job while he lounges in the pool of honey. Cue Jerry having a prolonged fantasy dream sequence with Renee Zellweger that is deeply sexually charged.
Really? Like...
It ends... Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. She gives him the eye, gives him the voice. You almost get an upskirt.
She says
like she gets
to him,
up in her dress
you
and
coming?
Like, it's like the start of a porn.
It really is.
I've seen porn that didn't start as well. But this dream fantasy sex sequence, like most of my own, ends with her flying a small plane painted like a bee, skyrating a heart above Central Park, and then crashing into a cliff and dying in a fiery explosion.
So confusing.
At which point Jerry swims up out of the honey pool. So we cut to Jerry and Renee spending a day in the city. They're having a date, they're going around, they're going shopping, fucking whatever. Jerry spots a jar in a store of Ray Liotta honey. And he's horrified that honey is being sold to human beings. And he wants to get to the bottom of this. So, cue Jerry in a honey warehouse, putting war paint on his face. We see a Hispanic grocery stocker who hears Jerry, the bee, sneaking around. How does he hear that? Why does he care? I don't know. I don't care. The result is Jerry and the human, grown man, Hispanic grocery stocker in a sword fight via bee stinger and thumbtack.
I don't understand anything about this scene. This guy how does he know the bees can talk?
Right, and why does he care? Why would he care? There's a bee sneaking around.
Why is he defending the honey? What's his
I don't
stock?
know. I work at a grocery store. I wouldn't defend anything, especially the honey. Okay, to be fair, there's some like Italian cookies.
Oh, the pizzelles?
I might defend those. Yeah.
Oh my god, those really are the best.
I'd probably defend those with my life with a thumbtack, but not honey. Okay. Jerry the bee, with his stinger, fighting the human Hispanic grocery store stalker with thumbtack, disarms the human. and holds him at stinger point to the neck and forces him to tell him where the honey's coming from. Cut to Jerry chasing the honey delivery truck through the streets of Manhattan. And again, it's like getting sucked into the car before, just this fast, wild, suddenly we want this big action scene, we're just cramming it in there for no reason. God.
Who is this for? Is it really kids?
I don't know.
It does not seem like it. Like, hearing you describe it without watching it just makes it seem contextually so much zanier.
It's really bizarre, and like again, as I'm watching it, I fall, and that's what some people, because there's people have intellectually pondered why it had the internet resurgence it did, and some people have concluded that especially younger millennials who maybe saw this movie in theaters while they were children and were just like, oh, we're going to see another animated movie. I'm 10, I'm 11, whatever. Went and saw this movie. We're like, oh, okay, that's another movie. And then 8 years later, when they become adults, like, get reintroduced to it and think, hold on a second. What the fuck was this movie? What the fuck did I go watch with my parents? None of this makes sense. This is really strange, really bizarre. We need to internet this up to digest it.
And the stakes just keep getting raised.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, think about it. He was about to fuck a human lady 5 minutes ago in this review.
Yeah. And I did remember to write a master's thesis, which has a point I'm proud of. But in addition to that, I may also read a text I sent you later in the review.
Oh, good.
Out of...
Oh, good.
Because this was my first reaction to getting through the movie the first time. And just the stark horror without being able to look back and piece anything together. But we'll get there.
Oh my god.
Okay. So the chase sequence through Manhattan of the honey truck ends with Jerry landing on the windshield of a truck. Which I don't think is the honey truck. I think it's another truck. I don't know. Maybe it's a honey truck. Doesn't fucking matter. There's a bunch of dead bugs on the windshield. Yeah, they got... Whatever. Okay, fuck. Bug joke. Apparently some of the bugs are still alive. One of them is a mosquito. Voiced by a Mr. Chris Rock.
In the most confusing cameo in the whole movie.
It's really weird. He's a mosquito crackhead. And he warns Jerry of the threat of the wiper blades. And we get our next science alert. Because Chris Rock, a male mosquito, mentions his fondness for drinking blood, but male mosquitoes do not drink blood. Only female mosquitoes do. So,
I did not know that.
Not super important for a children's movie about bees. We could usually gloss over that if there's like 2 or 3 of those. But when there's a dozen, it gets infuriating. So, Chris Rock, as a mosquito, explaining the mosquito lifestyle to a bee is a weirdly poignant explanation of race relations in this country.
It's really fucking weird.
Yeah, just like all of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, we mosquitoes, we gotta look out for ourselves, because every time we go out in the world, everyone's trying to smack us, and we don't have like your bee society, all your bees take care of each other. We don't have that. And it's like, yeah, it's like, oh shit.
If this is just, like, take away the mosquito and the bee, this is just a black guy explaining to a Jew what it's like to be racist against.
Yep.
It's really, it's kind of awkward.
And that's where you can tell, like, some of the writing talent from Seinfeld was trying to peek through. Mm-hmm. And was like, if you really played that up, and you really played the race card with the mosquito and the bee thing, mm-hmm. you could make that really interesting and really sell a lot of points. And make it really clear and poignant, especially for children. Mm-hmm. But it's just kind of a haphazard joke that doesn't go anywhere, dropped in the middle of a pile of shit.
Did you think these guys were going to be like a buddy? Who were going to be like, that's his new sidekick? Because that's what I thought.
Yeah, it seemed like it.
Yeah.
Because they have like a heart-to-heart in the horn of the truck. Fuck, stupid, whatever. But they have this whole heart-to-heart where they're like sitting there like buddies. And then I think you see him again once.
Yeah.
For like one line.
Yeah. This is like classic kids bug movie. You get a different race of bug, and you make them friends. I thought for sure that's where it was going, but
no.
They were
Matthew Broderick is Jerry's friend.
They were telling a much different story. This is not a story about an adventure.
Jerry arrives at the honey farm and witnesses human beekeepers laughing and joking about harvesting honey from bees like they're the world's most evil villains. Yeah. Like they're fucking James Bond villains. The line they say, they make the honey and we make the money.
These guys are the SS at Beeshowitz.
I want to go to a beekeeping farm and see if they act like this, because maybe they do. And maybe I'm just in my little bubble.
Maybe
and I don't understand the atrocity.
Maybe it's like a really masochistic, like to lord over this like literal hive of smaller, lesser creatures.
Jerry goes into the hive, the artificial hives, and witnesses the inhabitants. We see the beehive keepers using their like smoke gun to stun the bees, and we get a awkwardly dated joke at this point about the hive's queen actually being a man in women's clothes. He's a drag queen. Yeah. You get that? Do you get it?
Yeah, that's it. That's the only reference to any queen in this whole movie.
Not funny. Not funny, even when making fun of trans people was funny.
Yeah, no, taking away the context of that being offensive and horrible, it's just not a funny joke.
It's not. It's really... Oh, okay. Jerry comes back to the hive, complains about the humans using the honey. He goes on Be Larry King, which apparently you love, probably because your name is Larry. That's the only reason that makes sense. It wasn't funny!
Okay, it was not funny. But it was the funniest part of an unfunny movie. Of an unfunny and confusing movie. This, go explain the bit, and I'll explain why I liked it.
I have a favorite moment from this movie that's coming up soon. So we'll debate that in a moment.
All right.
But I don't know what the bit with Larry King is.
He goes on Larry King, and it's just the Larry King show, which if you've never seen it, it's YouTube Larry King, and you'll get all you need is 20
it's
seconds.
Standard CNN background with the lights. And he's wearing his suspenders and leaning forward.
And he does he discusses the whole thing with Jerry found the honey and all that. And then at the end of it, he's like, all right, we'll see at 11. And Jerry's like, the humans there's a Larry King in the human world too. And Larry King is just trying to drown him out. And he's like, hey, he's got the colored lights, the suspenders. It's just like this. I thought that was the best part of this movie. It was not funny, but it was the best joke. Like, I cracked a smile at that. Because it's like, that is like a Jerry Seinfeld stand-up comedian joke.
At moments, you could see him on the opening to Seinfeld stage, peeking through.
Yeah, because it's not him in his whimsical world of writing movies for his 6-year-old kid. It's him, like, doing a comedy bit, not trying to be a bee. God, be a bee. Fucking...
Nah. Oh, speaking of bee puns, during this thing, you probably blocked it out because it's the worst thing in the world. Jerry mentions, oh, well, what about other great people in the past, like B. Gandhi or B. Jesus? Get it? Bejesus? Bejesus? B. Jesus? You get it?
Those are not the worst jokes.
They're the worst jokes.
It's because if they had been like, Gond B, that's a bad joke.
That would be so much better.
No,
Larry,
that's a bad joke.
Movie. You fixed it.
Gond B is terrible.
Gond B is better than B. Gandhi.
Jesus is terrible. B. Gandhi and B. Jesus is much funnier because, like, you're supplanting the obvious bit by just adding B in front of it. But it's not, it's just
You're
Gandhi.
Getting too meta for me.
It's just
You're getting
Gandhi,
too meta.
But he's a bee. Gond B. It's terrible.
It turns out Renee is helping Jerry.
Yeah, remember Renee, the human florist from 45 minutes of the movie ago?
Surname Bloom. She's helping Jerry sue the human race for using bees' honey.
I'm sorry, what?
Patrick Warburton, her love interest, is distressed, which he's portrayed as a villain, but I'm on his side. What the fuck is this? She's emotionally cheating on him with a bee.
Yeah.
And helping him sue the human race? Okay.
And I mean, like,
Q.
This is where, for me, everything, like, that scene, because, like, before, he introduces himself, like, to reset to Renee Zellweger. Jerry does, and it's like, oh my god, a bee is talking. And then, like, off screen, it's just decided that all bees can talk and everybody's cool with it. Yep. Because he just has this scene with Patrick Warburton. And Patrick's like, oh, you're that bee that's been suing the human race. And it's just happening. It's like, wait, he fucking knows now?
Yep. Apparently it's out.
For me, that's where it really went off the rails.
So, yeah, this is where it goes off the rails, because cue the trial of the century. As Human News covers Jerry suing the human race for using bees' honey, John Goodman represents the honey industry. He is Foghorn Leghorn, and he is the only redeeming part of this movie.
He is really good. But he's always good. Is there anything John Goodman has been in that is bad? I've never seen
Kronk's New Groove?
Kronk's New Groove. And he's like the smallest of parts in that.
But yeah, he's over the top, just like Southern, like, we're gonna have to sue silkworms so they don't elastic on my britches. It's so over the top, it's so good.
He's really great.
But he gets 3 minutes of screen time, so it's gone before I can properly appreciate it. Oprah Winfrey is the judge. More celebrities. And Larry, if Oprah Winfrey becomes president,
which is not impossible,
I will kill myself. I'm not suicidal. I cope with depression, but I'm not suicidal. But if Oprah Winfrey becomes president, not out of depression, but out of logic, I will kill myself.
It is. I have always thought that is a very real possibility in our
I'm so afraid.
Lifetime. I dropped the microphone. My apologies. Yeah, no, I think that's a real thing that could happen.
I really hope not. Okay, thousands of bees are sitting on the prosecutor's side of the courtroom. That's fucking... And when fucking Barry B. Benson, Jerry goddamn Seinfeld opens the trial, and he's like, would you like to make your opening statement? And it's the first time he's spoken in public to the world, and the first time the world has heard bees. He gets up to the microphone, he's like, buzz, 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 buzz. And you're like, oh, does only Renee Zellweger understand bees? And then Jerry's like, no, I'm just kidding. Here, I can actually talk. All bees can talk.
I booed in my living room.
Oh, God.
I said, boo. Audience,
I'm twitching.
You can't see Isaac, but he is furious.
I am so angry.
He keeps picking up his pencil and slapping it down on the desk.
I'm afraid I'm going to snap this thing in half and stab myself in the eye before this is done. Okay, fuck's sake. Where are we? Jesus Christ. Thousands of bees. Favorite part of the movie. Jerry represents all bees. Okay. Oh, God. To prove selling honey in a jar shaped like a bear is immoral, Jerry introduces a grizzly bear in shackles into the courtroom who just growls and menaces at everyone.
It's so illogical. The mental leaps in logic in this fucking movie are unbelievable.
It keeps diving deeper into insanity. It does not end.
No.
So, Jerry interrogates Sting.
For those of you
Sting,
who may not know,
the musical artist, a member of the police. What's his favorite song? I'll be watching you, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Fucking Sting. interrogates Sting, questioning how his name is an affront to bees. Fucking stupid joke. And then he interviews Ray Liotta, who has his own Ray Liotta brand of honey, and it is actually voiced by Ray Liotta himself. He has a mildly interesting freakout. And actually, it was another part I liked, where he's, like, on the witness stand, just, like, freaking out, screaming about his honey or whatever. But it's completely ruined, because Jerry turns to the jury and says, Ray Liotta is a bad fella, not a good fella.
Ah, Jerry.
How have you sunk so low? Like, has your entire life since Seinfeld been sneakers and cars? Have you had no experience of the world besides that?
No, he hasn't. I think he, like,
money ruins people.
He clammed up into a big Jewish mansion and just like, forgot how to be funny. Yeah, money does ruin people.
Patrick Warburton comes home to find Renee eating dinner with Jerry, who is a bee. I don't know if we established that earlier. Jerry's a bee. Patrick Warburton's kind of upset because his relationship's getting fucked up by Jerry the bee. So he confronts Jerry in the bathroom using a can of Febreze and a lighter to create a flamethrower. Tries to set Jerry the bee on fire. Jerry lands in the toilet. Patrick Warburton says, "Ha! A royal flush." Which I guess is a joke because beehives have queens? And he's gonna flush the toilet?
I don't think it's a joke. I don't even remember this.
Do you remember Jerry surfing out of the flushing toilet on an emery board?
No.
That's what happens.
What? No, he doesn't.
Oh, he does. He does.
I don't remember that.
Larry.
What?
I've never had a movie like this. I really haven't.
You're so mad. It's the best.
I really, because when I wrote my review, it was like, I have like 4.5 pages. Is like average or a little less than average. I was like, this is going to just be a quick, shitty review. And I'm gonna go over 2 hours. I can't. I want to die. Okay. Southern lawyer John Goodman accuses Jerry in the courtroom. Foghorn Leghorn accuses Jerry of fucking Renee Zellweger and a horrid example of bestiality.
That is the thing that actually happens.
In the courtroom, in public. Science alert. Bees cannot fuck humans. Their dicks are too small. I did not think that had to be said.
Can you please cite your sources? What academic paper did you pull that from?
I jerked off a bee this morning with tweezers, which I normally use for myself.
Oh, man. Oh, God.
So, Jerry's straight-laced bee friend, played by Matthew Broderick, is very offended at the accusation that Jerry's fucking Renee Zellweger.
Which he definitely wants to.
Oh, I'm sure it's happened off-screen. So he stings John Goodman, the lawyer, Jerry's friend. Cut to the hospital. Jerry's friend, in a human-sized hospital bed, dwarfed because he's a bee, on an IV drip from a bear-shaped honey bottle, which, given the last few minutes of the movie, should be deeply offensive to them.
Yep.
But whatever.
Also, honey is not a cure-all for everything like they'd seem to think it is.
Bonus science alert. Right there. Next science alert. When a bee stings something, not only is its stinger ripped out, but also muscles, nerves, and part of its digestive tract. And it is not, in any circumstances, survivable. So, plot hole, the 9th.
Oh, boy.
Back in court, John Goodman, because he was stung
on
the bum.
Movie.
Because he was stung on the bum by a bee, now bounces around in an infant, bouncy carriage thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? With like the 4 wheels and it's a circle. And God.
The animation of his fat little legs pumping along to get him across the courtroom is pretty fantastic.
I enjoyed that. The John Goodman scenes are fine.
John Goodman he can really do no wrong.
Oprah Winfrey, however, and the court finds in favor of the bees. All bees from bee farms are freed. All honey is returned to the bees. Winnie the Pooh is tranquilized in the park for the monster that he is. I am not joking. We see that in the movie. Now, with an oversupply of honey production in the beehive is shut down. And without the daily grind of work to dull the existential ache of their lives, the bees slide into an apathetic leisure that consumes them from within. Renee shows Jerry that since the bees are all lazy fucks now, all the plants in the world are dying. Science alert.
It's my new favorite bit.
The results of the lawsuit, as portrayed in the movie, would only have effect in the United States. Bees in other countries would still be pollinating. Therefore, not all of the plants in the world would be dying. Let's move on.
That's the science. I guess political science is technically science.
Yeah, that's more of a law school alert, but I wanted to keep the same bit. So, okay, I'll get to it a little later, but given the concerns of the honeybee population and how it's declining and how important they are for pollination, this is a real concern the world should have, for sure. Mm-hmm. But, as portrayed in the movie, profoundly inaccurate. So, science alert again. A lack of pollination would not cause plants to die. It would cause them to be unable to generate viable seeds. So, in the long term it would be a problem, but it's not like within a couple of weeks all of the plants in Central Park would be dead and brown, which is portrayed in the movie.
Yeah.
Renee gets in a cab to leave, because she's a florist, for the final Tournament of Roses parade in LA. It's her last chance to see it before all the plants in the world die. Jerry chases after her in the cab. Again, another just chase sequence through the streets of Manhattan. And comes up with a movie-ending idea. He says if they can just bring all the roses back from LA, then the bees can pollinate the world. Science alert. You can only pollinate plants with the same species of pollen. Therefore, if they only stole roses, they could only pollinate roses, not any other type of plant. Okay.
You're so mad.
Why are the only flowers in the world left in LA? I don't understand that. I mean, aside from the rest of the world would not be affected by the lawsuit, but why are there still roses just in LA and no whatever? Okay.
My question is, why do they have to bring them back to New York?
Also a good point.
Are the fucking LA bees just a bunch of lazy stoners?
Well, that would make sense. So, to get into the, what is it even fucking called? Flower tournament. Parade of Roses. Tournament of Roses. Fuck, who knows? Renee Zellweger poses as a flower inspector. Jerry, the bee, poses as her brooch.
Science alert. Bees are very small, and very small things can fit into much smaller places. Like pockets, the inside of jacket flaps, vaginal canals, ear canals, anything. Bees are very small. Science alert over.
So once Jerry and Renee have snuck into the Tournament of Roses, Jerry hotwires a float made of roses, and they drive to LAX, the international airport. And they check the entire float of roses as luggage on their flight back to New York City.
Anything to get it over with.
This is where I really had to... I think this is where I texted you. The long string of angry text. And there's more. There's more. But it just keeps going. It keeps delving into insanity and absurdity. Okay. They're on the plane. Jerry ends up knocking both pilots unconscious. And calls Renee up to the cockpit over the loudspeaker. So now Renee has to fly the plane. But because Jerry's a bee and knows how to fly, he can talk her through it, kind of not. I don't know.
Now, Isaac, I don't know if you remember this, but according to all known laws of aviation, this is a science alert. Bees cannot fly.
You fucking knob. You fucking knob. So, Renee gets on the horn with air traffic control. And they end up on national television. And there's a lightning storm. And the bees are watching from the hive where they're all lethargic. I don't know. Whatever.
It's the stupidest thing in the world.
Lightning strikes the plane, damaging the controls. Science alert. Planes are frequently struck by lightning. They're designed to withstand it.
I'm gonna die.
Jerry and Renee share a scene while on the phone or the radio with air traffic control where they slap each other back and forth in a domestic abuse gag. Because they're stressed out and angry, and they just slap each other. Because the...
But why?
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know why it's funny.
Is it funny?
They thought it would be funny. Meanwhile, because the plane is out of control, because of the fucking lightning strike that disables planes, several million bees fly under the plane and support it. Science alert. Jetliners fly several hundred miles an hour. Bees cannot fly more than 30 miles an hour. So bees do not defy the laws of aviation, but they cannot keep pace with a jetliner. Hence, this scene is problematic. Although, interesting science corner, bees could generate enough lift under an airplane to actually fly it. Although there'd be a weird thing with, like, the vacuum from the air drag and stuff. But, like, just based on lift alone, if you had bees under a plane, they could lift it, in theory.
How did you come across that information?
I went down a rabbit hole. Okay, so...
Stop!
Even though the bees
Almost
are...
there. I'm about to come.
Even though the bees are flying the plane now...
Oh, my God.
Renee Zellweger still has to steer the thing, even though the controls have been all lightninged up. Somehow she's still in charge of steering. So Jerry tells her, land on the flower! And a million more bees have, on the tarmac, positioned themselves to be in a black and white target flower for her to land on. That's really obvious. But Renee Zellweger, because she's a goddamn dumb twat, looks at, like, the tail artwork on another airline and sees, like, a Hawaiian flower, and is like, should I land there? And Jerry's like, no, you dumb fucking twat. What? And then she looks at a fat man in a Hawaiian t-shirt with flowers on it, which is a nod to John Lasseter, who's the now revealed to be rather lecherous guy at the helm of Pixar for most of its duration.
Who was the fucking writer who wrote that in and then also went to IMDb to put in his clever little dig?
Exactly.
Which motherfucker on the cast? Because who would have known that?
Yep, exactly. It's this little tiny DreamWorks nod is like, oh, our competitor who's only like 1,000,000 times better than we are. We'll make a fucking Hawaiian shirt fat guy joke about him in B-movie. That'll get him. So yeah, Renee Zellweger's like, should I land on this man in a Hawaiian shirt? And Jerry slaps her in the face and is like, no, you dopey fucking twat. Land on the ground.
Also, this guy is just walking across the tarmac where there's literally millions of bees.
I know.
What's he doing? What's his story? You look defeated. And I just came.
They land the plane. Jerry gets out and tells all the bees that since this is literally the last pollen on Earth and only bees can pollinate plants, they must pollinate the world or everyone dies. Science alert the last. While honeybees are very important to the pollination process, and we should be concerned about their declining population numbers, other insects do also pollinate, and, surprisingly, you may not have known this, another pollinator, wind! Wind pollinates! The breeze picks up the pollen and moves it to other plants. So
you're dipping into Cosby in your rage.
I want to make a very bad joke about Jerry Seinfeld and what I want to do to him, but I don't want to go there because that's too dark for me.
Wow.
So I'm stopping.
Please,
I'm holding back.
Please tell me once the episode is over.
I wish Jerry Seinfeld the best, and I hope he never encounters Bill Cosby.
It's true.
So they pollinate the world, and everything's better. Everything's saved. Jerry gets a pollen jock jacket, and he's got his new career. Here Comes the Sun, the George Harrison Beatles song, plays. Great song.
Yeah.
Good song for this movie, actually.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Renee's... It's the end of the movie now. Renee's florist business is booming, because pollen, whatever. Jerry is a lawyer, so he's not a pollen jock. I don't know, he got the pollen jock jacket, but now he's a lawyer representing cows, I guess, to sue people for milk? Fuck, I don't know, maybe that's the sequel. Goddamn this movie. Patrick Warburton, who is completely separated from Renee Zellweger now, walks down the street and sees their shared business, which is fucking Renee Zellweger's flowers and Jerry's fucking stupid frivolous lawsuit emporium. I don't know. He looks up at the sign and says, "This bee is living my life! When will this nightmare end?" And that's basically the end of the movie, and that's a fitting quote to go out on this pile of shit. But one final quote, as Jerry's rallying all the bees up and saving the world. "We're not made of jello. We get behind a fellow, black and yellow."
What does that mean, Isaac?
I don't know. I mean, jello like you're jiggly and weak? I don't know. We get behind, like, we support our friend. Okay. So the theme of this movie is a fine theme.
Yeah.
It's Clerks 2 theme.
Yeah.
It's, you might need to spend your life in a menial job that doesn't have any importance, but that's how society functions. Mm-hmm. So you should come to terms with that and be okay with that, and your job doesn't have to necessarily define who you are. Mm-hmm. You can define yourself in other ways. But you probably won't have a career that defines you necessarily, or is groundbreaking, revolutionary, or gets you adulation. Mm-hmm. Great lesson.
Yes.
But this movie fucked it up so bad.
It really does. It just, from the opening, like cast your minds back to 6 hours ago when this review started, and the opening bit was like him graduating at bee college and like looking at his bee job. At the end of it, he's fucking a woman, a human woman. He's a lawyer. He has a law firm where he's representing a cow. That is just like, think of the first and last scenes of a movie and think of like what really the fucking in between was. Because it's really, like, this is like the most rip-roaringest where the fuck, how did we get to this pointy movie I've ever fucking seen. Bar none.
This was something else. Now, all right, I'm gonna, and again, sort of like you said with Pupstar, you kind of wished you could capture the stark horror and surprise of seeing it for the first time.
Yes.
Because you only wrote your review after you were watching it for the second time, so more things clicked into place, and you weren't as perplexed by it.
Yes.
And I felt this with B-Movie too. It normalized the more I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
As little as it could. But this is a text I sent to you after watching the movie for the first time. And this captures my headspace and despair and surprise at what this movie was. This movie has jumped the shark so many times I'm dizzy. This is a bukkake of a film. Over and over, I'm drenched in hot loads. The rational part of me knows eventually all the balls around me will be depleted. Yet insufferably, eternally, cum washes over me in pulsing rivers.
Pulsing rivers.
Each load is hotter and stickier than the last. As millions of bees land an out-of-control airliner, I realize I'm in the La Brea tar pits of jizz. I'm immobilized. Fighting for breath, I swallow in man spunk. Now I'm frozen. Lifeless. A preserved body at the feet of Mount Vesuvius. More cum than man. I'm a mummy of jizz and despair, to be displayed in a museum, testament to the hubris of mankind. In 2007, B-Movie came out, and humanity grazed the sun, reaching greedily toward godliness. But exactly here is where it faltered, and backpedaled into a death spiral that will leave naught but a barren wasteland on what was once a beautiful blue marble, dancing in the abyss of space. Fuck you, Larry. I hope hell exists.
You need to put that music from last episode into that. Because it's about as beautiful. Science alert, it's actually, when it's bees, it's pronounced bee-cocky.
They just jizz honey on you? Oh, Jesus. Alright.
Oh, that was... It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Please tell me there's another layer.
There is another layer.
Thank the
There's
fuck
a surprising layer, and it explains a lot about the world.
I need your help.
Do you have your propeller beanie? I know 2 weeks ago we couldn't use it.
It's been on my head this whole time. It's dusty and the servos are locking up.
The makers of B-Movie have taken a scalpel to the heart of science, carefully carving away objectivity and reason until all that remains is a blissful sea of ignorance. Facts are naught but a hindrance, standing in defiance of the beautiful narrative unfolding nakedly before us. Truth is a wet noodle, slithering around the fork that is this movie, before entering, like an airplane flown by bees, into your welcoming mouth. Watching this movie, you regress in age and intellect, stumbling backwards through your youth until you stand in diapers and in awe of the world around you, not troubling to actually understand the world, but rather clinging to whatever silly notion floats into your thick toddler skull. Indeed, as the movie grinds and heaves towards its clunky, ham-fisted conclusion, it becomes apparent what it has been all along. The very first campaign commercial for Donald J. Trump. Because all reason's out the window. Nothing makes sense. Life doesn't matter.
Oh my god.
We've lost the game of the human species.
Well, we did. We lost a lawsuit to a fucking bee.
Oh shit, I got a jar of honey in the cabinet. Oh man, they're coming after me.
Fucking bees are stealing our human women. Our florists, our Renee Zellwegers are just in complete disarray.
They can take our Renee Zellwegers. I'm all right with that.
Yeah, seriously, lazy bitch. Allegedly.
So, yeah, did you have any more thoughts? Any B movie things you needed to get off your chest?
No, you hit all of my points, and I made note of my points of minor insanity that were driving me crazy. I only watched it once, and after 20 minutes, I turned off the critical part of my brain because I don't know how I'd survive. If I had to do this review, it would be 4 hours long.
Yeah,
this is just, I don't know how you did it. This is lunacy.
And it's tough, and we've discussed too, once there's a big budget, $150 million budget, and the DreamWorks production staff behind it, it's not made poorly. The animation's fine. A lot of it's pretty good, especially, a decade old now. Yeah,
for 2007, it looks fine. Like, there's no real issues with that I could think of.
But, so I've seen worse movies, but I don't. Perfect Sisters is the only one I may be angrier about. Because
you're really mad.
I mean, that one basically absolves murdering your mother.
Yeah, it does.
But this movie's close. Because it absolves
Jerry
Seinfeld thinking he's funny.
Oh, that's so sad.
I love Seinfeld. Oh, God.
I know.
So, Larry, now, we gotta start talking about the next couple episodes.
Oh, can we just can we just live in this moment forever? Where I don't have to watch anything else?
And I gave you a pretty wide window. I gave you a 50-50 chance. You've seen the movie. You almost couldn't lose this wager.
And yet I pretty much did.
You pretty much did, but I count you as winning. So you get to choose one of these two movies. And the one you don't choose, I will not subject you to until I forget about this entirely. And then I make you watch it anyway. Okay. But you won't have to watch it for a while.
All right.
So you either have to watch Moonrise Kingdom.
Oh, fuck, no.
Directed by Wes Anderson.
No.
Or the latest installment of a famed series of films. Pirates of the Caribbean. Dead Man Tell No Tales.
Oh, I've already seen that.
Oh, you poor man. You get to pick your poison. What's it gonna be, Larry?
Oh. Alright, well, first of all, I hate Wes Anderson.
Oh, yeah, I love Moonrise Kingdom. I think it's a really good movie.
Moonrise Kingdom is probably an excellent movie, and Isaac picked it knowing that I will hate it.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, but everyone's gonna hate me because I hate it. And no.
They won't hate you, just bitch about it, how quirky it is.
What was the one you made me watch that I talked about for 12 hours?
Royal Tenenbaums?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's one of my favorite. Oh, it's so good.
Everyone loves it.
You gotta see Isle of Dogs. You'll like. You can't not like Isle of Dogs.
It's just me who hates Wes Anderson.
I'm afraid you'll like Moonrise Kingdom because I think I don't know. Well, you got tripped up along the way.
We can't have that.
I'm sure you'll find things to complain about. Worst case scenario, if you decide you fall over backwards in love with Wes Anderson, I'll pick you a new movie. If we come to that.
All right, look. I really do well when I utterly hate movies. I hate you so much. This is how I watched both. I am going to watch Moonrise Kingdom.
Ooh.
And if I don't hate it enough, I will rewatch Pirates of the Caribbean, which I know is bad.
Oh, God. They got a new chick, right? Because apparently Keira Knightley's too fucking old or something?
Keira Knightley... Oh, I'll save it for the review then, won't I?
All right. Okay.
Oh, man. I was afraid of this. Oh. I am going to watch Moonrise Kingdom, and I'll see if I can get a review out of how much I hate it. And I almost certainly will hate it.
I'm excited. We got some big, high-profile movies. Because B-movie's a big deal. Yeah. That was a big movie at the time, and now with its internet fame. And both Moonrise Kingdom and Pirates of the Caribbean, obviously, have some prominence in the last few years. So
Pirates of the Caribbean 2... not 2 as well. It's Pirates of the Caribbean 5. Also sets up for Pirates 6.
Ah, gross.
Which is a callback to Pirates 2.
Eventually, they'll have Johnny Depp's skeleton actually portraying itself.
I think the first Pirates of the Caribbean is one of the best adventure movies ever.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. And then they just never stopped.
Yep. Very true.
I have seen all of them within the last 3 months.
Oh, you poor man.
Oh, it's a funny story I'll tell you about off the air. But I am gonna try Moonrise Kingdom. If I don't hate it enough, I'll review fucking Pirates of the Caribbean, which is it's horrendous. Not movie level, but horrendous.
If you like Moonrise Kingdom, we might need to do a short bonus episode where you confess how you actually liked a Wes Anderson movie.
If I like Moonrise Kingdom, yes, I will do a bonus episode. Because, you know what? I'm still going to hate myself, so it's still going to be funny. It's going to be really funny. Because, when I say we watched Royal Tenenbaums, I talked about it for 12 hours, I'm almost not exaggerating.
Oh, yeah, you loathed it.
I really don't like Quirk.
It was entertaining.
I really think Quirk is overrated. Now, that was a lot of years ago. That famous expression that smart people say with their smart words, a lot of years ago. So I may have changed in that time, but I don't think I have.
We will find out.
Well,
but
you motherfucker, you're gonna make me watch 2 movies, you fucking...
Maybe. So that's gonna be, what, B-Movies episode 18, right? Yeah. So that's next week's gonna be episode 19. And now, episode 20. Holy shit, we're chugging along.
Yeah, it's really getting there.
What am I going to have to watch?
Well, this was not my plan. However...
Oh, God.
Recently, in the news, there was a news story that just came up. Now, excuse me. Not to step on your bit, because this was not my plan until before this episode when we were kind of talking about what we were going to do. I am going to also give you a choice. Because there is... I really want you to watch the one, but it's also incredibly appropriate for you to watch the other based on current events. Now, the one I want you to watch, and this has been on my radar for a while, and shout out to my Dungeon Master James who pointed this out to me, and this movie, I've waited because I think you might like part of it, but I also realize that it's fucking horrendous. So, your first choice will be between The Canyons.
The Canyons?
The Canyons. Starring Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, no!
And your second choice will be an old friend of the show and an old friend of mine by the name of Steven Seagal's Contract to Kill. Now,
I got a lot of thinking to do.
Now, the reason I decided to dip back into the Steven Seagal well, because, I thought I know for sure he was going to have multiple appearances on this show. But because we live in Looney Tunes, let me see if I can find the article so I don't fuck it up. Steven Seagal was recently appointed by Russia as a special ambassador to the United States. And It's a real thing that's happening on planet Earth. Vladimir Putin sat down with Steven Seagal and said, "You're our boy."
If you needed any proof
man.
to know that something, somehow, and we don't have all the facts, is deeply fucked with U.S. and Russia relations, this is the only fact you need to know.
It's mind-boggling. It's I thought it was an Onion article, and it was the New York Times.
I remember in Code of Honor, we mentioned how he had, like, bitched and whined until he got Russian citizenship. He just, like, kept going to the ambassador and was like, "Hey, can I be a citizen? Can I be a citizen? Hey, I'm Steven Seagal, I'm famous."
Emailing him.
And eventually they're like, "Yeah, fine, whatever. Okay, great, you're a citizen." And apparently, now in Donald Trump land, that has turned into him being a cultural ambassador for the fucking country.
We live in a world where in 1 year, Donald Trump, president of the U.S., and Steven Seagal, special ambassador of Russia, could be arrested for treason.
I pray Steven Seagal goes out in shackles over this.
Oh my god, it's that or a bullet.
If he has not committed a crime, then that's fine. But if he has committed a crime, which I'm supposing he has in his career, then I hope he goes to prison, and it will make me very happy. But, okay, so I gotta decide now. So this Lindsay Lohan movie, The Canyons, a chance meeting thrust a calculating movie producer and his actress girlfriend into a tour through the dark side of human nature. It's from 2013, so this is like the depths of drug use Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, this is when she was really crazy, wasn't it?
So I'm curious about that.
Now, this movie is pretty sexy, which is why I didn't want to give it to you, because I know you'll enjoy that regardless.
Do I get some titties?
I don't know, but I would not be surprised.
I don't think I've seen Lindsay Lohan's titties, but I would not complain.
There's definitely a lot of man chest. You can tell that from the trailer.
I wouldn't complain about that, but I wouldn't be nearly as excited. What's the Steven Seagal movie called?
Contract to Kill.
Oh, it's not even showing up when I type in contract. Oh, there's so many movies. I hate his face. His thick fucking neck.
Just looking at him is just... He's such an awkward man.
A federal enforcer must find a way to take down two different threats when terrorists use Mexican drug smuggling routes to plan an attack on America? What?
So, more the DEA, by the way, your favorite.
Oh, right. Every movie just... Is that Benicio del Toro? No, Russell Wong. Okay. He's Asian Benicio del Toro. Okay, I got it.
There is another movie that I briefly considered, another Steven Seagal movie on here that also has Danny Trejo.
Oh, yeah.
Who at times can be entertaining, so we can't have that.
Oh, man, I don't know what to do.
It's a tough choice.
I'm really conflicted because, like, I know the Steven Seagal movie will be entertainingly bad. Like, I'll enjoy how bad it is because of all the stupid action sequences.
The Code of Honor review was fun to write and do, but, I mean, the movie was incredibly perplexing. Like, unbelievably perplexing.
But at the same time, the chance of seeing Lindsay Lohan's tits.
This is why I didn't want to give it to you.
I'm going to have to go with the Cleavage Canyon or whatever that movie's called.
I think you added a word in there. I think it's just called The Cleavage.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do the same agreement. If I jerk off more than 5 times while I'm watching that movie, I'll watch the Steven Seagal movie and review that.
Now, what happens if you jerk off 5 times for the Steven Seagal movie? Or is that just a guarantee? Oh, what a shit show of a week.
Oh, Jesus. Someone's lighting fireworks off. I don't know why. It's August 7th. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe it's July 9th, and it's like the weekend after 4th of July. Fine, go for it. What the fuck is happening? You're lighting fireworks off.
They're celebrating your B-movie review.
This is historic.
Oh God, that one was just a nightmare.
It was a doozy, man. I don't know. I didn't have that level of continued anger throughout any movie. Perfect Sisters might be worse in the anger department, but B-Movie was unique.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's worth, if you haven't seen it, it's fucking worth seeing, just because you won't believe it.
You won't
really
believe it, Larry.
Oh, by the way, the B-roll 34 is really depressing.
Is really depressing?
Yeah, there's not enough of it.
Oh, I thought it was going to be
It's mostly just Renee Zellweger getting fucked in the ass by Patrick Warburton. There's not enough human fucking.
Oh, that's just. I thought depressing you meant it was like aging porn stars trying to find their niche.
Oh. No, I put the Rule 34, not actual porn.
Oh, okay. And by aging porn stars, I meant like 23-year-olds.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. I know a lot about the porn star world, and it's really depressing.
Larry, did I tell you the monkey joke?
No.
I didn't tell you the monkey joke?
I don't think so.
The monkey in the bar?
No.
Oh, God. Okay. This is my favorite joke. No one else likes it. No one else likes it.
Okay.
I heard it on the Ice Cream Social podcast, which we may be advertising on someday. So maybe we'll get some back catalog listeners from.
Okay.
Okay. So this guy is traveling out of town, goes into a bar he's never been in before, and goes up, orders a drink. He sees a little monkey, with a little top hat on and a collar on his neck on an 8-foot chain behind the bar. So he's sipping his beer and he's says to the bartender, "Hey, what's the deal with the monkey?" Bartender says, "Oh, this monkey's the fucking best. He knows the best trick in the world. Let me show you." Pulls out a baseball bat, cracks the fucking monkey on the head as hard as he can. The monkey runs over to him, starts sucking his dick. And he blows a hot load right in the monkey's mouth. Monkey swallows. Good times. Bartender leans over to the new patron. It was yeah, best trick in the world. You want to give it a try? And the guy says, "Yeah, sure. Just don't hit me as hard in the head."
This has been the Pals of Netflix. I'm Isaac. That's your co-host Larry.
Thank you so much for listening. We exist on Twitter, Facebook. Those are both at Pals and Netflix. Please send us an email, palsandnetflix@gmail.com, if you have any movie suggestions, or especially if you've seen any of these movies and you have your own experiences with them. Especially as if you were 11 when you saw a B movie, and now you're coming back to it and being like, "What the fuck was that about?"
Oh my god! Please write about B movie.
That would be great.
I know you've seen it.
And yeah, thank you so much for listening. We're a small-time gig. We really enjoy doing this, so we want to try to get and keep as many listeners as possible. So make sure to rate and subscribe, and suggest us to your friends, or do the social media thing where you poke us and suggest us, or Tumblr us, or Grindr. Grindr's a thing. I don't know.
I don't know if you swipe right on Grindr, but I feel like there's a joke there, but it's way too insensitive. I don't know how to make it, though.
But yeah, please recommend us, because we'd really love to get out in the world. Because we're locked up watching Netflix movies all day. It's really depressing. Quick thank you to Kevin, what the fuck's his name? MacLeod. From Incompetech.com.
Kevin MacLeod, the last Highlander.
He makes all the music you hear featured in this episode, and he's got a pretty cool setup. You go to his website. It's all royalty-free as long as you give him credit. So if you have any projects you're working on, you're doing a YouTube video or a podcast or anything like that, you can get some really cool music to use in that project. Just give him a shout-out, and that's all you need to do. And make sure to stay tuned, because next week, Larry's going to be reviewing one of two movies, either Moonrise Kingdom or Pirates of the Caribbean 5 Electric Boogus...
Suicide.
Slive.
Electric suicide. Everyone's gonna hate me.
It'll be a window into your damaged soul.
Oh. There's enough of those. I asked you to stop calling my asshole that. Yeah, the show's over, folks.
Thank you so much for listening. Come back next Sunday. We love you. We'll see you.
Smell you later.